Black queens forever.
Listen, these Dr. Umar videos are going insane right now. I'm talking about Dr. Umar appearing at HBCUs, and they're treating this man like he's a rock star, right? This caption says Dr. Umar visits HBCU, and I keep on seeing different angles of this. Just keep watching. Now, don't worry. I know this is definitely one of those ones you guys love to check the comments. Of course, we're going to do that. Top comments here says, this feels like an episode of Boondocks. I said this on the last video where Dr. Umar was crashing out and pretty much giving a last warning to his other baby mama. I just thought that whole video was crazy, and it just keeps getting wild. Somebody else here says, y'all acting like this man, Malcolm X or something. Some people really do think that Dr. Umar is equivalent to a Malcolm X type. I mean, I was surprised. You know, the amount of people who were looking at the last videos I reacted to him, of him being exposed, you know, by his daughter, which was confirmed, his baby mamas, and so on and so forth. And him coming out and beefing on screen. There were a lot of dudes, and it wasn't the majority of my audience, obviously so, but there were a lot of dudes who were looking at that being like, yo, you're kind of attacking our leader, you know, in building communities and families. That's what Dr. Umar talks about. At least that's what I believe his goal is. Goes on to say, why are they screaming like he Michael Jackson? Somebody else, he says, he found the generation to scam. Do you guys agree with that statement? Do you think that this is the perfect generation for Dr. Umar to be out here scamming? There are more videos, right? From different angles. Check it out. Now, what I have to admit is Dr. Umar does have a talent when it comes to how he's known how to navigate the online landscape. He obviously knows how to target the young people, especially those who are in college, as you see here, right? He is trending more often now than ever on platforms like TikTok. And so he does have a talent in knowing how to garner attention and eyeballs on himself, whatever he's talking about, whether that is negative or positive. I think in the end, the question is, how seriously can you take his life, you know, as somebody who you can take constructive criticism when it comes to building relationships and families? And there's some people who can say, hey, I think he's spot on, right? I want to replicate what he's built in his life. There's one more right here. Check this out. It says, when the whole room knows Dr. Umar's motto, and I have a question about this video.
We might pledge to this flag or to that flag. We might be Christian, we might be Muslim, but we are one people. And we must fight to always be one people. Black queens forever.
If you guys didn't hear that, we're going to play it one more time. You know what he said. Most of you guys know what he said, but some people didn't catch it.
Let's fight to always be one people. Black queens forever.
All right. I'm going to piss off some people. I already know that, right? This is the coffee pod. It happens. He says, Black queens forever, snow bunnies never. This is chanted in a room, right? Am I the only one who thinks that's a little weird? I guess for me, it's one thing when you see one-off video of him saying that, recording himself and uploading the video. You're like, that's Dr. Umar. But here we're seeing a whole auditorium of young Black men and women screaming, Black women forever, snow bunnies never. Now you may be asking, Chisha, what's wrong with that? I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, what if it was the other way around? And this is when people who claim to drink coffee all of a sudden start spitting it out, right? As soon as they heard me say that. And my question is simply this. If this was done anywhere else by, and I'm not talking about just white people, I'm talking about Asians, you know, Hispanics, you know, white people, And they all got together and started chanting Mexican girls forever, black women never, or white women always, black women never. I would be uncomfortable about that. I would think there's definitely something weird about that. And it's not just because I'm married to a black woman. No, it's not just because of that. I just think this is a very weird thing to chant at maximum volume. And for some reason, this is okay. Do you agree is my question. We can talk about this down below. But the one consistent message I've seen across the board, I even saw it on a post on an Instagram platform, because that's where I first saw a page actually post about all this, is he's found the perfect generation to scam. And listen, nobody wants to get scammed. Nobody wants to think like you're saying one thing, but live in another. Nobody, right? Nobody likes to get scammed. Like this commenter who says, speaking of scamming, $50 for a coffee mug is wild, bro. LOL. Now, of course, he's talking about my one and only Chisha Zed, the coffee pod mug. And funny story about this mug, man. I remember when I first designed this, I used to write the actual taglines from the show on here. I had this whole idea because I was like, okay, I don't do lives. I don't do like a membership group thing here on YouTube. I'll figure out a way to design this coffee mug. It'll be simple, but it'll be a way for people to support the channel. You know, sealed it with epoxy. You know, epoxy takes about like 2 days to dry. And I started getting orders, right? And I thought, hey, this is great, until the worst thing possible happened. I woke up, it was a new day. I was excited to fulfill another order of mugs. I'm there doing my thing. I get finished. I pack those mugs up. By the way, that's not me. That's an AI photo, right? And I'm feeling proud of myself, man, because I'm like, oh, great. I have a way for people to support the channel. And people support two ways. If you ever become a content creator, you have the people who support by watching your content, which is great and amazing. And the people who want to go an extra mile, which is also great and amazing, right? So it's getting late. I go to bed. I'm excited to wake up and go drop these mugs off and ship them off to everybody's doorstep who ordered one. The morning hits. I wish I woke up smiling like this, but no, this is another AI photo. I have my breakfast, big day ahead. And then out of nowhere, I kid you not, my wife walks in and says, babe, I think somebody stole the car. She's thinking about this car and she's stressed out. Yes, you heard me right. Stole the car. If you guys remember earlier, I put the box of mugs inside the car. And the whole time I'm thinking, forget the car. What about those mugs? What about those mugs that I spent all that time working on? What followed next was some sadness and a really great solution called print on demand. And that leads me to my final statement. And guys may be wondering, why'd you even tell that story? I just think it was a very funny story and it taught me a lot. That people just wanted the mug. I went online and decided to go the print on demand option. So to anybody who's wanting to do anything similar, don't try to do things the route that's too creative. And I refunded everybody their money and gave them a free mug. With that being said, if you also want a free mug, hit the link pinned to the top of the comment section because I'm giving out 100 mugs. 40 have already been claimed, and you can do that by leaving us a review. Just click the link pinned to the top of the comment section and leave us a review of our prenuptial agreement guide. There are 60 mugs left. 40 have been claimed in less than 12 hours. Let's get back to Dr. Umar.
So I came across this video of Dr. Umar screaming Black Kings Forever at an event at an HBCU.
Shout out to Don P. Sound Off.
And the black women in the audience went crazy like Michael Jackson came back and was doing a new show, or that they were in church and the spirit hit. This is how they screamed and yelled, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what it has taught me is that as long as you tell black women what they want to hear, you can do anything. You don't have to be a good father. You can abandon your children. You can abandon the mothers of those children. You can do anything as long as you pander and tell them what they want to hear. This man literally has abandoned 4 black women. And he's screaming Black Queens Forever, and they start shouting.
Mercy.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
Mercy, what do you think of that statement?
Like they in church on Sunday.
Right.
This is amazing to me because my grandfather told me something. He said, son, you can tell a woman anything but the truth. As long as you pander to a woman, she'll believe anything that you say.
Wow.
I always disagreed with that, but not so much anymore. I think he was right.
Wow. That's deep. You know, that I think that happens to a lot of men. You know, there are a lot of things that my father used to tell me that I later on realized he was speaking facts. One more video here. Let's check it out.
Dr. Umar came to your school and you shut it.
Black queens forever. All right. My preference is black women all day, every day. That's what it is, okay? We don't make that clear, okay? But I have...
Hold tight.
What's up?
You said your preference.
What's wrong with preferring black women?
No.
I prefer black women.
Maybe y'all need to have a talk in the back after this. Do you exclusively date African women?
I've only dated African American women, yes.
And will you exclusively only date queens?
So just based on pattern,
You see, am I the only one who thinks this is weird? Like, he's pressing him because he said my preference are black women, which is also my preference, right? Mostly dated black women my whole life. I find this odd because he's asking him, will you exclusively only date black women? I believe race being the deciding factor in today's society and dating climate when it comes to who you date is just a very short-sighted way of looking at things. I don't know, guys. They're the successful relationship people there on screen. Let me know.
based on my pattern, yes, okay? Based on my pattern, yes, all right? Everybody relax, okay?
Dr. Bird, Doctor, go ahead. Are you finished? Are you done?
Can I finish what I was saying?
Go ahead.
So, no, I am not a bunny hopper because I had a good white teacher. I was in
Say that again?
No, because the original topic at hand was when you talked about how and this
I
is
can't hear it.
let's not ad hominem, right? So what happened was we were talking about teachers, right, and how they can affect the self-esteem of students. And I said, I believe that there are good white teachers who won't negatively impact the self-esteem of a black student. That doesn't make me a bunny hopper. I had Miss Cochran in first grade. Now you good. I know it's all a joke, but in first grade, I had a teacher named Miss Cochran. She was a white woman, and I was the top of the class in a class full of white people. So this is a thing that's possible. So yes, the education system is against black people. However, we cannot make blanket statements about every teacher who's not black, because I don't think that that's fair to people.
Dr. Umar's face is saying, banish him.
Professor here, Mr. Nava is not black, but he's a great teacher that advocates. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. That's all I have.
Oh shit, they actually had a white person there. Yeah, it's weird. Weird to me. Hey, you guys are allowed to disagree, you know. But of course, I'm always curious to know what you guys think. Moving on. Dr. Cheyenne Bryant says she's holding out on giving up the cheeks, the goods, even though they are sharing phone passwords and she has access to the guy she's dating's house. So we're back to the freaky doctor. And we're going to call her the freaky doctor because this is the same woman who's encouraging people who are trying their best to abstain and implement sexual discipline when it comes to sex. She was encouraging them to shower together, find the most attractive person you can find and shower together, butt naked in the shower. Another great wise teacher of the next generation right here. Let's check this out.
I haven't had sex in a year, and it's not because I chose to be celibate. Hold on, Jason. This is not a choice. I'm being transparent right now. Okay. It just happened like this because I'm not into casual sex, so I'm putting it out there. This is not I chose to be celibate, and I want to do it. I'm being honest. Like, I'm 42. My libido every day, all day is like, so I said to him, well, what if we be companions and do and get into this thing and let this take its form?
Meaning sexual partners.
Can you take it down?
Yeah.
Like, I want it. I'm attracted to him.
So this was a conversation
He covers me. This man spoils me. He loves me. He wants to marry me. I have passwords to his cell phones, access to his home, keys to his house. What do you mean?
That's toxic, and toxic.
That is my love language. So he's speaking my love language is access, transparency, and so
No. You can't. Wait. You talking a lot. You saying a lot. We're gonna have to go over.
Go ahead.
Access to my phone, access to my house, access to my passwords is not a love language.
Thank you. That was a great point. When a chick is trying to convince you that her love language is access to your phone, just know that there's some real damage there. Like, think about that. How is your love language access to his phone? How does that even make sense? My love language is for you to turn your notifications on.
Me having your password, you having my password, doesn't mean we're looking for something in there. That means that you have full access, transparency to me and me to you. This is my thing. Why would a woman allow someone to penetrate their body, but I can't penetrate full access and transparency to you?
Dr. Bryant, Dr. Cheyenne from LA, they are going to drag you for filth.
I want to be penetrated.
She said, I want to be penetrated senselessly. Yeah, let's really break this down. Here we have Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, who she's not, new to the controversies of the coffee pod here, the contradictions and delusions. She's right up there next to Kendra G. And why do we study these women? Well, because a lot of these women are archetypes of the women you see around you right now who are holding out, claiming that he's ready to marry me. But where is he? He proposed, but what happened? We need more to the story. But hear me out real quick. She says, I've been celibate for a year. Congratulations. I mean, I'm really not trying. Guys, listen, follow me here. I'm not trying to hate. But this proves one thing for sure, is that these women who say, the Dr. Cheyenne Bryants who say, I'm not allowing this, I'm not allowing that. You've never been married in your life. In your life. And you're bragging about a year of celibacy. I'm not saying you can't live your life the way that you want to live it, but I'm saying think about that for a little bit. What does it prove, Chisha? It proves that in most cases, somebody out there has access to that woman, sexual access. Because for you to only have been celibate for a year and to have never been married, meaning between then and now, I think she's like heading towards 50. You've been getting it in. And most of these chicks out here are getting it in. Now, are all of them getting it in? No. This idea, right? Very extreme idea that all men are going out here and are ruled by chasing women and what's between women's legs is false. The same way that there are women out here who do back off and leave the streets for real. Now, to what degree does that happen? Smaller degree. But just this one clip alone right there, let us know a little bit more of what we need to know about Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. Top comment here says, I'm so over her, with rolling eye emoji. Shout out to Kiki Black, who I know for a fact is a married woman, drinks coffee. And for the women looking for help with fitness, go check her out. Somebody else who says, I don't necessarily believe everything she says, but it be sounding good. Of course. Lies sound amazing. And, that's why people fall for them. Somebody responded back to her and says, facts. Oh, these are chicks actually responding back and agreeing, being like, yeah, she does lie to us, and we do listen to it. Here's somebody else who says, she know damn well she been hunching. She want to sound spiritual and celibate so bad. Yeah, that's all we took from this. She has been very active from what it sounds like. Here's somebody else who says she's very contradictory. Let's see, what else do we have here? Another comment here says, she just told us, come get me, with laughing emojis. Now she wants and has codes and not smashing. This is made up. I'm convinced now. Yeah. In another video, she was talking about how her man needs to come get her, and she's looking at the camera saying, come get me. Now she's in a relationship. Which one is it? Here's somebody else who says, oh, girl, this is where she contradicts herself. But I disagree. Somebody else who says she be given advice and don't have a stable relationship herself. I be confused. I think everyone is at this point. Somebody else who says, I don't want anyone's password and they don't need to have mine. Now, this girl right here is speaking facts. Most of these chicks who you guys are dating today, they don't want you to look through their phones. They don't. Chances are it's going to end in tears, not just for her, but for you too, when you find out what's going on with Island Gal, right? And people responding back to her comment says, hello, to each their own, password codes, amen. Laughing emojis, exactly. I don't give an F. That part, because you'd be cheating. Here's somebody else who says, I agree with her. A man has full access to your body, but you can't just randomly look at his phone. That's crazy work. Well, then just don't give that man access to your body. Simple math right there. Then stop letting any guy who you think, is the next man up to ruin your life just a little bit more, access to your womb. Easy fix. But we get it. It's an impossible task. Somebody else who says, if I need all that convincing myself, my shawty isn't playing with me behind my back, etc. I don't want it, nor do I need it. Of course, guys, curious to know what you think about what was said here. The thing that will always shock me, is how we are officially in a society where the people who actually don't have, like, in just unstable situations in their relationships, marriages, they are now deemed as toxic, misogyny, hateful, and the people who have the most instability are propped up and lifted up to a pedestal. Now, no one's perfect. I'm definitely not, right? I'm careful to know who I should listen to or take wisdom or counsel from or expose myself to. No one's perfect. But there is an obvious difference here, if you look very closely, between the people who are caffeinated and those who are not. Moving on.
I'm more mad at myself. I'm more mad at myself that I allowed this shit to happen because it's affecting my daughter. And it's not something I can take back. It's not something that I can just go back in time and change it up. It's like
the caption on this video reads, oh, it disappeared. Give me a second here. All right, it says, sincerely, a single mom who didn't choose her baby daddy wisely. Sounds like we're about to maybe see some accountability from this chick. I don't know. Let's keep watching.
Go back in time and change it up. It's like the consequences of my actions. It's me ignoring everything that God was trying to show me day in and day out, because I knew the type of person he already was. I knew that he didn't have it in him. I knew that his core value is trash. Like, I hate that I allowed this shit to get to this point, and there's no takebacks.
Shh. There's no takebacks. She's absolutely right. There's some things in this life that don't allow you to have a do-over. And one of those is the man who you allowed access to your womb because he's latched onto you forever. That's what people have to say here. Top comment says, sleeping in the bed I made. Take accountability, ladies. Wow. This is nice to see. Somebody else who says this is why women should marry first. I think if you plan to have kids, this is how I view this situation, then you want to give them the best possible case scenario, which is 2 parents in the home. So marry before you carry. Now, again, those are your kids at the end of the day. You're allowed to put them at the disadvantage of not having 2 people within that household. And to the people who are like, well, bro, I'm in the household, but I'm not married. Okay, that's the next best thing. Sure. That's okay, right? No need to feel attacked if you're there. No need to put the shoe on if it doesn't fit. But the data is clear. It's clear about the disadvantages of children who are born out of a 2-parent household. Somebody else who says, you're the first woman in history who has taken accountability for bad decisions. Thank you. Women, listen up. I think that's supposed to say. She responded back and said, no, this is somebody else. Somebody else here says, this is a chick. Great. Now it's the men's turn to take accountability. Somebody else who says, I regret my baby daddy, but not my daughter. Yet another chick here who also shares the same sentiment. Mm, mm, mm. Yeah.
I'm more mad at
Yeah. And there are men in this position as well, you know, and the cautionary tale here is sexual discipline, one moment of excitement, of fun can cost you for a lifetime. We've got more videos from her. Let's check it out.
being a single mom is not the flex that you think it is. Yeah, we're strong. Yeah, we hold it down, and yeah, we do what we gotta do because we have to. Because you know what? If we don't do what we gotta do, we get our kids taken away. When I start seeing people like in my single mom era or something that has to do with being a single mom and it being like a flex, it's not the flex you think it is. This shit is so ghetto. This shit is real pain to the chest, not just because of you and your situation, but because of your kids. Because you know that this is going to affect your kids. I'm a single mom. And it wasn't until I was a single mom that I learned on many lessons that I should have learned a long time ago. It becoming a normal thing, it's so sad. It just makes me so sad for the kids. It makes me so sad for everyone involved. Like, people think this is the flex. Oh, you're a boss, babe. Or you're this, you're that. Babe, I don't want to be this. I have no choice but to do this because I decided to not pay attention to what I was doing. Because a feel-good moment was going to be a life-changing event for me. And although I love my daughter, and if it wasn't for her, I would have learned so many things that I should have learned. It shouldn't have taken me to this point for me to learn what I needed to learn. It shouldn't have. Either way, I would have met her and with any person because that soul was meant for me. No matter what. This shit is not what you think it is. And yeah, we're built for this shit, but we have no choice.
It takes a lot. It takes a lot to get on here and keep it real. Somebody else who says life without kids is worthless. Somebody else who says, yeah, I don't want to be strong anymore. I want to be soft. I want to go back to this comment. Life without kids is worthless. I don't know about that. You know, I think you have to know what you value and who you are and your goals. There's some people who don't want kids, and that's okay. I don't think people who don't want kids should have kids. I think that's bad for them and bad for the kids. Another person who says, I absolutely love my daughter, but in another life, I would be the rich auntie with no kids. Motherhood is hard because it was never meant to be a one-person job. That is true. I mean, even at this point right now, I was thinking about how my son's like 6 months old. And every time I think of me doing it by myself, I think of single moms doing it by themselves, and I don't know how they're able to do it. And by the way, I've always known that that would be a challenge if I was in that situation. But even now more so that I actually do have a son, I can't imagine having just the sole responsibility of one child. There's a certain level, even though I'm sitting here looking at these chicks being like, yo, you can't blame it. There's a certain level of also, I'm like, hey, it's sad, you know, it's tough. You know, and I respect people who are in situations, and when I say that, I mean in situations where maybe someone passed away and they have to do it by themselves because of that, or they truly were in toxic abuse, like truly, honestly, not what we hear. I look at that, I'm like, hey, that's a lot, you know, and respect to you for pushing through. So we have this final video that says Instagram dad. Let's check it out.
Not give a about my kid. You give a about your image. You give about what you look like to these people. You worried about the wrong shit. Let me tell you guys something. I do not give a about what anybody got going on. I just let shit be, and I just let people do their thing. It's not till I start venting to a friend and it coming out of my mouth where I'm like, oh wow, this is actually really stupid. And right now I'm gonna act real childish. Tell you guys why my daughter's dad. So I told him he needs to start providing, right? He's like, oh, I got you, blah, blah, blah. Turns out he don't got me. And the problem with him is like, if you don't got me, then just say, hey, I can't do it, whatever. But he didn't say that. He dragged it on along. Turns out he don't got it. So I told him, you can't see her till you start providing. He's all like, you got me, so whatever. And I'm like, you know what? Just take this time to get your shit figured out, because there's no way you can show up for my kid if you don't even got it.
Wait. Why would you tell the only father, the only real father, because you only get one of your children, that you can't see his kids until he's able to provide? See, this is that stuff that really just damages the situation more.
For yourself. I'm thinking, oh, he's gonna figure some shit out ASAP, because why wouldn't he? He's trying to see his kid, right? Like, he's trying to see his kid, right? A month goes by. A month and a half go by, and he messages me out of nowhere. And he's like, I'm tired of you doing this. Mind you, during this month, he has not asked me about my child. He has not asked if he can talk to his child. You can't even call your kid and be like, hey, baby, I miss you, or what's going on? Nothing. And suddenly he's like, I'm not playing about this. I want to see my daughter, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, I bet you something's coming up. So we're here and I'm telling him, okay, so provide. You can take her the moment you provide. Take her, please. I'm overstimulated, obviously.
What do you guys think of that? Am I right, wrong with that? I'm curious. I'm curious to know a second opinion on that one.
Anyways, he's like, what do you need? And I'm like, oh, like, she's this. He goes, my gender reveal is on this date, and I want her to be there. And I'm thinking, I knew something was up. I knew something was coming, because if it wasn't for that gender reveal, he would have never messaged me. He wouldn't have said shit. He would have dragged this shit as far as he can. And so I'm like, okay, well, she can't go unless you provide. And I'm standing on that shit because I give this man so much grace, and I've given him chance and chance and chance again, and he be playing in my face.
Wow.
And not only does he play in my face, he plays in my daughter's face. Like, you're done. He's like, I can only do this. And I'm like, no, this is non-negotiable. And he's telling me I got clothes for her, but I can't give it to you because when am I gonna have at my place? And I'm like, well, she's not at your place. She's always with me, so she's just gonna grow out of it. Like, so I tell him it's non-negotiable. It's either that or you get nothing. He finds a solution the very next day. He's like, I got it. And I'm like, okay, cool. What's the plan for this weekend? Oh, I'm gonna pick her up at this time. Okay, bet. I put her in some whatever clothes because I'm like, this is clothes that I don't mind stays at his place. Like, if it stays, it's cool. It's not a big deal.
Right.
I had her in like pretty much pajamas. Why was she at his gender reveal in pajamas? After telling me I got it. We got clothes for her over here. We got food for her. We got love. We got all this. Why the you got my child in pajama leggings and you're in church shoes? Why got my daughter in Crocs when you guys are all in dresses? So mind you, I'm noting all this. Why do I tell my best friend this weekend what the update on our lives, because I haven't seen her in 2 months? And the way it's coming out of my mouth, it just sounds ridiculous. What do you mean your kid hasn't talked to their dad in over a month? What do you mean he suddenly wanted to get her for the gender reveal and suddenly he was able to provide? Like, that shit coming out of my mouth, that shit, the way my friend made me reflect on everything, I'm now that shit pissed me off. Now I'm gonna be childish and I'm gonna be ugly. Because you know what? Yeah, why the take you this long to do that? I don't be giving nobody shit, but you know what? He's Instagram dad. He wanted her to be there so he can show his little friends that he really be doing it. But I'm like, why do I keep my mouth shut? I say peace, ego, all that. Because you generally do not give a about my kid.
All right. So what it sounds like is because of how things played out and her believing that the man she chose, who the way she's describing him sounds like he's a bum. And I'm not afraid to say that. You know, things have to be called out on both ends in certain situations. But she's obviously upset here because he's not, in her words, providing. Here's why this is a tough situation that only gets more challenging. In most situations where there are high emotions running rampant between two people who are trying to work together, but they're highly emotional and they maybe don't like each other, right? Co-parenting situations. You usually need a masculine man who has a healthy amount of control over his emotions to be the adult. And in most cases, it's not going to be the woman. She's most likely to react emotionally, get online and talk shit. That's why he's not up here. And if the man himself can't sit down and say, how can I do this for the sake of me having a good relationship with my child or son, it's pretty much going down the drain. Because there are people out here with good co-parenting situations. I truly believe in most cases it's because that man is willing to control his emotions in situations where the woman usually gives in to certain emotional moments, right? He's able to look back, take a deep breath, and not be led by his emotions. But if you have a man who you picked who literally is celebrating another gender reveal with another woman he's gotten pregnant, at this point, he's continuing who he has been, the pattern that he set. And what this could be at best, hopefully, is a co-parenting situation that doesn't result in him being completely cut off because the child still needs his father. And for people who are watching this, a very, very real lesson about why you should be very careful and not be out here playing around. Somebody today just got the bad news of you're pregnant or I'm pregnant today. Right. Hey guys, as always, I appreciate you for checking out another episode of the Coffee Pod. Listen guys, before they're all out, make sure you hit that link to the top of the comment section and get yourself a free mug in exchange for a review for our prenuptial guide for men who value marriage in our modern day. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.